Hi, it's me, Harrison. Today I'm going to show you something interesting that you probably haven't heard of before, and that is the Maurienne Derailment. As you can see right here. Today I'm going to tell you some interesting facts, or a little bit of history, about this event. So, let us begin. So, to start off, am I familiar with this topic? No, I wasn't familiar with the actual topic. Even though before I researched it, I wasn't familiar with it at all. But I was always familiar with the actual kind of topic, which is accidents. I've always been kind of fascinated by this kind of topic. It's just who was involved, what happened, or how did it happen. I'm always just curious to see what happened in the end of this kind of event. So I was really satisfied to read this and see what went wrong from this Maurienne derailment. On December 12, 1917, a 350-meter long train carrying 800 passengers, most of which being French soldiers at the time, were going to fight in the First World War. Along with them too was, well, just your regular passengers traveling from start to finish. Unfortunately, the train crashed due to unfortunate brake failure, which was common for trains back in the day. The train unfortunately crashed just before they came to the station, which is unfortunate since they couldn't make it to their stop. And the thing is that the people riding the train didn't even notice until later on that they missed some of the carriages, which had most of the passengers, obviously. However, 675 people died, with the rest being injured or fatally wounded. Fun fact, as I already mentioned, this Maurienne derailment was going on around the First World War. In fact, the year 1917 was a year behind 1918, which is when the First World War ended, and it lasted from 1914 to 1918. So, of course, at the time, most of the world was in war. So that's why the French soldiers would probably be on the train going to fight for their country and, of course, for our world. On June 6, 1923, 5 years after the Maurienne derailment, André Magno was involved at the funeral of all the victims who unfortunately passed away in the Maurienne derailment. As you can see, that's him right there. All the bodies were buried at the cemetery of Saint Michel de Maurienne. Weirdly enough, in 1961, the bodies from the cemetery originally was transferred to the National Military Cemetery in Lyon-l'Adou. I'm not too sure why. On December 12, 1998, the bodies were moved again, however this time at the original location where the innocent was originally taken, that being the Sausage site, or the La Sausage site. Not really much of a difference, is there? The Maurienne derailment, as is known as one of the biggest derailment catastrophes in history, as it's known as one of the second craziest derailment catastrophes as of 2004, and now has become the third. Which is crazy because as of right now, or as most of the time, not a lot of casual, either doesn't really care about history that much, hasn't heard of this before. I haven't heard of it until I looked it up. And I mean, even though it's written in documents, and of course there's been stories and documentaries about it, but yeah, it's not as popular as, let's say, World War II. I think everyone knows what World War II is. So I just found this interesting that, and even with this, to note as well is that there isn't a lot of information, like even the wiki page doesn't tell a lot about this. So, I mean, there is information, it does explain it straightforward, but again, it just doesn't, there isn't a lot. So now I'm going to show you guys a video that summarizes this whole event to make it, hopefully, to make it you guys understand this, unless if my reading didn't help. Anyways, let us begin. Video. So now that we're back, I just want to give a little bit of conclusion here. So I think for most of my time researching this kind of stuff, I think this might be one of my favorites. It's so obscure-ish, but it is also popular, and it is documented as one of the biggest derailment catastrophes. But something for you guys to know. So we all have curious minds. We all look up stuff that eventually we discover something brand new and it just shocks us. So I think it's good once in a while, if you're just curious, just look something up. If I want to know how to, I'm not sure, turn on certain cables for the television, there you go. Learn a new language. So that's why nowadays Google is really helpful for us. I'm gonna take myself now to ask you guys some questions. The video is done.